Good morning. Today we build a giant bear statue to watch over our Minecraft port. Welcome back to MorningCraft. So today we're going to be building a giant bear statue here, and it's going to be towering over and looking over the port of Gronsport. Old bears of Ara did a lot to help out with the foundation of Thaldrim in terms of protecting it, and now they're gone, there's going to be a statue that's still watching over the city. I've been away over the weekend and I've been working on something pretty cool, which hopefully I'll be able to show you next week. But for today, let's just enjoy this build. It's something I've wanted to do for quite a while, and so I've left this pillar empty. But today that changes, so let's grab some copper blocks and get to work. I went ahead and started placing down a sort of rough copy of the default Minecraft player. Same number of pixels, same rough size, although I did make a few modifications. You can see it's got a little bit of a snout, a little bit of a neck, and it's slightly wider so it has a gap between its legs. And that's not the goal, to have a gap between the legs, but it just makes the build nice and central so it's got a middle block rather than having two middle blocks. You can see that here on the snout where we've got a 3-block snout, whereas that would have been sort of 4, 6 or 2 if we'd gone for a default player skin. Just gives us a little bit more control in terms of making things centered. It does produce a gap between the legs, which we don't really need. And with a few changes, I'd made this look a little bit more like a bear. You can see I've sculpted the snout, added some eyes, and added some ears. Our bear is coming together pretty nicely, and we can see it watches over the port of Gronsport. Of course, this bear does look a little bit too adorable, and we don't want it to. We want it to be gnarly and scary, like the old bears of Ara. But before we make those changes, let's go to a quick story segment.
Mayor Jansen of Ladagen gave homes to the liberators from Sakurajima, a temporary measure until they could be granted lands of their own. But the Emperor shared his stories of how Sakurajima fell. The disruption caused by the pirates had led to the demise of his home. All this talk of pirates gave Mayor Jansen an idea.
Okay, we're back and we're making our bear a little bit more scary. We've got this cool leather armor. We've bent one of its arms, given it a few leather straps, and it's holding this sort of spear. Certainly looks like it's going for a hike, but it doesn't look very scary. Of course, if we want it to match the Ara Siege, we're going to need some incredible skull and bone armor. While they're all gone, it's nice to have this statue still watching over the city. With this great big spear, it feels like they're still able to protect it. And with these extra details, it feels more realistic and more like one of the old bears. Bone armor forms a false exoskeleton over it, and the harsh brow gives it its usual stern look. Of course, we're going to need a few more changes for this to look right. But we're definitely getting a little bit closer to what it should look like. I added a flaming torch to the top of its spear, a glowing blinded eye with red all around it, and of course the usual skull helmet. And it dutifully stands guard over the port and keeps any intruders away. Perhaps we could build some kind of museum inside the tower that it stands upon, or maybe nearby. But I think for now this is a pretty good start. Could use a few more changes to make it look a little bit better and a little bit more natural. It definitely captures the effect and the old bears, which I wanted it to. Although these guys are normally found in a forest, and so I'd had to make a few small changes in order for that to be captured. I added some of my Thaldrim oak design to sit beneath the bear. And now I was pretty pleased with how the statue had turned out. There's quite a lot going on in this scene, and that's partly because we've not finished the coastal town of Gronsport yet. Although I think we will be renaming it to Araport after the Arasiche bears who protected the town. Either way, I think this statue looks pretty cool now, and I think I got the effect I was going for. It's kind of looks more like a pixel art than a statue in some ways. I think I'll have to replace some parts of it that are a bit too bold. Maybe replace the armour with iron and some of the brown parts with something else, maybe a different sort of shade of weathered copper. But for now, I think it looks pretty good, and it looks kind of cool standing there in the sunset. Yeah, I think some material changes and it'll be perfect. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how this has turned out, and I think it looks pretty good. Again, I'm really excited to show you what I've been working on over the weekend. It's been quite a lot of work, so I don't even have an episode from Monday. But there will be 3 interesting new episodes next week, so hopefully I can get those edited in time. I don't want to release it if it's not ready. But yeah, hopefully it should be pretty good. Yeah, we've now got a beautiful port with a wonderful statue looking over it. But before we wrap up the episode, let's go to one last story segment. Here we go.
Vikings of Thaldrim, your voting rights are maintained under my governance, but after 30 days they will be suspended, and you will no longer have power in this chamber. You may see representatives from Ladagen and Sakurajima here. Their homes have cathedrals, as does mine. If you wish to retain your rights as equal partners in the Thaldrim Parliament, prepare lands for cathedrals. When the dog decides to grace you with a monument to Dawn, then you will be able to speak in this Parliament. Should you fail to build a cathedral, you will be ruled over without a voice.
So there we have it, a very normal episode. We've got 2 story segments in, and a wonderful build, and quite a few good shots of our wonderful cathedral, which we upgraded in the last episode. I've done a pretty cool build for the next episode, so I'm looking forward to showing you that as well. Actually built an interior for once, which is a big change for me. And once again, I'm really looking forward to showing you what we've got planned next week. I might potentially do 5 episodes next week, depends on the editing time. We'll see. Either way, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've had a really good morning, and I hope that continues on to a really good day. My name is Stephen, you've been watching MorningCraft, and here's a quote to help with your day.